friend. Welcome back to another episode of the Happy Whole You podcast. Today, my guest is Melissa Crook, and she is also another podcast host. Her podcast is the F.E.E.L podcast. She also hosts Together We Feel, which is a panel show. She's an author of Embracing Layers Unapologetically and is the creator of her own online course. I'm excited to share her with you and for her to share her story. So here we go. All right. Thank you, Melissa, for joining me today on the Happy Whole You podcast.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Dr. Anna Marie. I really appreciate what you do. I'm so thankful that I got to meet you a few months back when we both were on with our friend Lulu Agan as part of her Power of Just One conference. And yeah, I just knew right away, one, you're just down the road from me in Bakersfield. I'm in Fresno, but two, like, oh yeah, this so succinctly connects with what the work I'm doing with women and just helping women get their power back.
Yes. Oh, yes. I love that. And you talk about not just getting your power back, but how we do that is we unpack the layers.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you share with me what are these layers and how do we unpack them?
Yeah. So the layers, I had to figure out the hard way, like so many of us. And after doing that, I'm like, we don't have to do this if we know how to approach it. And so the layers are what I call all the pieces and parts that make up your story. Some we love, some we don't. Some we have fear and shame around, some we have joy around, all the pieces and parts. And we tend to want to stuff away the hard ones and not deal with them and not give them room to breathe and just kind of focus on the ones at hand. And our bodies aren't designed to carry these. And so, what I found, so I'll use myself as an example. Anxiety has been a partner of mine since I was probably 5, 6 years old when I started really digging back. But all of a sudden, I hit age 45 and she just shot through the roof, like at another level. And so it was like, what is happening? Like, I know this has been a thing, although I would tell you I was kind of in denial about it till I was about 50, where I really had to approach it. But I was just like, so I started getting curious, but I still wasn't really willing to sit down and start asking myself the hard questions. And that came at 50 when I ended up in the ER twice with skyrocketing blood pressure, skyrocketing heart rate, thought I was having a heart attack. And it was just these unprocessed emotions screaming for help. And so many times we hear women say, especially middle-aged women, my body's failing me, my body's falling apart. No, she's trying to get your attention because you've been putting yourself on the back part of the shelf, tending to everyone and everything else first, because we got this false narrative, many of us growing up, that self-care is selfish, that putting yourself first is selfish, when it's actually the opposite. Putting yourself first means you give yourself space to embrace your layers, fill your cup, identify what's going on with you so you can tend to it, which then allows you to show up as your healthiest, authentic self. So taking apart the layers, it can be difficult. It can be traced back to things that happened to you early on that trigger something within you, or it can be tied to a narrative that you heard, but you've treated as truth that's no longer serving you. So it
Yeah.
requires curiosity rather than judgment to start taking. So I'm feeling tense in my chest. I'm feeling achy in my hips. And what am I carrying? Excuse me. What am I carrying that is leading to this? And, really, you can start simple. Write down the emotions you're feeling each day. Sit down, get really curious. What's coming up for me without judgment, without scrutiny? Just write them down and see where you can trace them back to. That's traced to something that's actually that needs to be healed and processed, that you need to remove some grief around, or some grief that needs to be moved through, or some fear or some shame. I mean, I had a period of my life from 18 to 21 that I stuffed for years, and it was shrouded in shame and embarrassment, because when I tried to talk about it to my parents, I got a very terrible response from them. And so when I did that at age 19 or 20, I'm like, oh, that's not, can't talk about that. So I carried it around with me. Well, it needed to come out. It needed to be heard. And as I finally started allowing myself to name these things and give them room to breathe, there were different my blood pressure settled because it was very hypervigilant, anxiety based. My blood pressure settled. The tightness in my chest settled. The numbness I felt in my kind of middle part of my body, flank area settled. The tension in my face, like as I took apart each of these things, but it required me to give them that attention and to move through them and give them room to breathe and name them. And once I did that and released that, I literally felt like a weight, like physical weight came off of me, even though it wasn't physical in terms of the event itself. I was carrying it in my body as it
Yeah.
was. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not anxious anymore. Like I said, this is something I have a diagnosis with, but I know what to do with it. I know how to differentiate now between, no, this really is the tiger chasing me versus, no, this is just the trigger that's coming up because these events bring this up in you. So we're going to get up, we're going to walk around, we're going to
Yeah.
go outside, we're going to do some breathing exercises.
Yeah, and I think that what I find is that I would always say, yeah, it's not selfish to, like you said, for self-care. And I almost want to say the more I work with people, it's not even, it's not that we think it's selfish. I think it's that we don't want to deal with it because
Yeah.
it's making us feel something that we've been avoiding feeling for our entire adult lives or however long it's been going on. So I do think, and I wouldn't have said this even 5 years ago, but I find that the more women I work with, we do say, oh, it's the selfishness. But I think if we go deep to it, we don't want to deal with it. We don't, we don't have time to be sad. We don't have time to feel anxious. We don't have, at least we think we don't have time to deal with these things. And what I found for me too is like that one, not wanting to feel it, but then two, if we feel it and we let it go, then who are we without being able to say, I have this issue, you know? And so that's a thing. It's like when I work with clients and it's like, okay, well, what would you do if you didn't experience this anxiousness every day?
Mhm.
How would you be? How would you show up? What would you do differently in your day? And if we can't answer that question, then we haven't allowed ourselves to even envision a future of where that doesn't even exist. So
Yeah.
I think that it's really fascinating how all of us kind of either approach it or avoid it. Um,
Mhm.
but I love that you say like there's all these signals on the body because I agree. Like our body is constantly speaking to us and trying to redirect us. But
Mhm.
we have this avoidance mentality, and we, especially as women, like we were never designed to work in the masculine energy that we are working in. And so that really, I think, takes its toll on us as well. But okay, so if somebody's sitting there and they're saying, okay, like, yeah, I am feeling this anxiousness. I'm hearing you. You're telling me to breathe. Everybody tells me to breathe. Write stuff down. Like, this is like great to hear you say this, but my reality is those things aren't working for me. Like,
Mm.
what would you say to that person?
Keep digging. Keep staying curious because those things don't work for everybody. It took me about 2.5 years to figure out when something was coming up, what I needed, and what I found is it's the same thing. It wasn't just that pad answer. And so first off, when we're identifying emotions, we're going to take the words negative and positive away. We're no longer going to call our emotions negative or positive. They're clues. And that helped, and then we're gonna go into it neutrally, and then we're like, do I need to, like, take a pill I have a pillow that I go outside when I'm feeling really seized up and really feel the blood pressure rising within me and know something needs to be released. I grab that pillow, I've got a wall outside, and I bang that pillow, and I literally wear myself out exercising this feeling from my body, and it allows me. I might do a hit workout. Other times I'm exhausted. So I'm going to do some stretching and some yoga. So I'm going to listen to my body. I'm like, do I need to work this out in a hard way, or do I need to give her rest? Do I need to stretch her out, remove the tension? Do I need to lay down for 20 minutes and close my eyes? I mean, one of the things I try to do daily, and I don't always get it, 10 minutes of quiet, no noise. And that really allows me, like, no songs, no ocean sounds, nothing. I generally will go outside in my backyard where I can just hear nature. If it happens to be a bad weather day, then I might find a comfortable place in the house. I close my eyes for 10 minutes and I'll set an alarm if I'm on a time crunch. And I just I quiet my mind. And many times it will help me realize what I need.
Mm.
And the other thing that can be really helpful in this, and it's part of it, this will be in the show notes, but write down 5 activities that nourish you. That and think about that. And you're like, I don't know, like go back to before the adult rat race hit. What was something that nourished you? Was it, going for a hike? Was it going for a swim? Was it watching a funny movie? Was it coffee with a friend? What are those activities that nourish you? Many times those are the answer. Like,
Mm.
I need a phone call with that person that I trust. And just to see how, not to, just to see how she's doing and catch up. I need to hear her voice. A hug from my husband really soothes my nervous system. He is a safe landing place for me. So a hug for him when I'm feeling it really helps ground me. So it's not a quick fix, but start with those activities that nourish you and then pay attention to what your body needs, what's going to help it release. And that doesn't mean you don't deal with the emotion at hand, but when you are able to move your body and move it out a little bit, it opens your mind to be able to tap back into
Mm.
where that's coming from. Or if you don't have time in the moment, it still gives you some relief. But it requires a lot of curiosity. And I have a menu. So I have a menu of options that I can choose from based on the signals my body is sending me, based on that list of 5 activities that nourish me. And another thing, the final thing I'll say, identify your character traits, not your roles, not your titles, but who you are as a person. I'm passionate. I'm excited. I'm curious. Um, I'm funny. Whatever I'm stubborn. I mean, it can be the whole full gamut, because then when Dr. Anna Marie asked you, who are you without this anxiety presence? You can tap back into those character traits of,
Mhm.
of who you are. This doesn't have to be who you are all the time, but who you are when you feel healthy, whole, feels refreshing. Also, the language around it, rather than saying, my anxiety. I'm feeling anxious again today. Anxiety is coming up for me. So rather than identifying, I'm depressed, I'm feeling depression. Depression is something. So rather than calling it and personalizing it to you, point to it as the thing that's one of many layers that
Mm.
you carry, but it's not your whole identity.
Yeah.
So
It's
those
not
those
an
are the things that
experience.
help.
Yeah, I love
Yes,
that. I always
yeah.
say we don't have it, we're experiencing it.
Yes.
And I love how you said, like, viewing without judgment. And here's the thing about when we view our emotions, physical ailments without judgment, that can be very hard to do because the first thing we naturally want to do is give it meaning.
Yeah.
That's the link that I think we need to be very careful with.
Mhm.
Is if we're giving our experience of feeling anxious, if we're giving it meaning, and that meaning is due to my past, that is due to this thing, it's due to this negative thing, then you are actually spinning in a stronger neural network of meaning that this anxiety is for you and it is not for you. So then it's like we get to take it a step further and it's like, okay, not judgment. For me, that's like, okay, I'm feeling anxious right now. And this is a gift to me to explore something, or what is it that I feel uneasy about versus saying, well, I have anxiety because of blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's just shifting that narrative that I believe saves us from creating these strong neural networks of meaning. Because every experience, emotion that we're having, when we attach it to a meaning from our past, that means we are continuously creating a future based on our past. And most people I talk to don't want to create a future based on their past. They want to create a future based on the future they foresee for themselves of how they truly want to feel. And I actually did this exercise with one of my coaches yesterday. It was really great. I went through a very uh emotional experience the last few days. My grandma is dying and I flew back immediately to Michigan. I spent 4 days with her and I just got back the other
Mhm.
day. And saying goodbye to someone when you know it's the last time,
Yeah.
that
Oof.
is that's a lot. That's
It
a lot.
is.
I can't even get into
It
talking
is.
about it because I'll lose it right now. Um but God, I forgot where I was going with this. But I totally lost where I was going, but that's okay because there's something else here for all of us. But when we say goodbye, I think for the last time, one thing I recognize with my grandma is she lives without any regrets. And it wasn't about
Mhm.
stuff, it was about connections.
Mm.
And as I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the meaning in my life, I'm like, do I want more? Do I do more? But then I want this simplicity in my life. And so I think
Mhm.
like what I was discovering is it's not one or the other. It can be all of it.
Yeah.
Um, but oh yeah, back to the exercise with my session with my coach is that future self we want to create for ourselves. We get to put ourselves in this bubble of all the things we want to feel as that future
Mhm.
person. So
Mhm.
what she had me do was I wrote down all the feelings that I've been feeling lately. I drew a
Mm.
stick figure of myself, and it was sadness, it was depressed, it was joy, it was calm, it was, happiness. It's all of these layers, right?
Mhm.
And then when I go to my future self of who I'm creating, what do I envision her feeling? Well, I envision her joyful, grateful, letting go, at peace, no matter what's going on around her. And so
Mhm.
what was interesting when I compare those two lists that I had, the only difference was the meaning in my mind that I was giving my
Mm.
current situation. And that's the
Yeah.
thing is our future self is right here for us. We just
Mhm.
have to literally it's like a switch and
Yeah.
we get to shift that perspective. And
Yeah.
that will collapse time and bring that future self into us. So as we go through these layers, I think it's important that, like you said, there's no judgment. We'd stop giving them meanings based on our past and we can
Yeah.
give it something based on the future person that we envision for ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know where I was going with all of that, but thank you for giving me the space to to share that. But I do think that there are so many layers. And I love that you talk about the layers because it's those layers and peeling them back without that judgment, without giving them more meaning than what they need. Getting quiet, giving yourself that space and that grace. Um, but yeah, I think we get so busy, like so
Mhm.
busy that it's like we keep pushing off the dealing with. And I think it's
Yeah.
instead of thinking we have to deal with it, we get to discover it, is how I like to kind of shift that
Ah.
perspective.
Yeah. And we tend to make things bigger than they are out of fear. Like, I don't want to deal with that. That feels hard. That might destroy me. No, what's going to destroy you is if you continue to carry that around within you because you weren't made to carry it. So you've got more within you than you think you do. Give that the space to remove and breathe, remove it, move through it, and move forward. It doesn't have to continue to be a narrative. You don't have to carry, you get to decide the narrative. I ask people that I work with all the time, and as well as my podcast, name 5 words on how you want to feel the next 6 months. Okay, how are you going to be an active, engaged person in that space that goes right along with those activities that nourish you? And listen, life is hard. You just talked about grief. I did a panel on processing grief earlier this week on my panel show. And everyone was talking about, there's so many narratives and stigmas around grief and anger. And like, we're not, women tend to stuff those things instead of allowing them room to breathe because grief can bring up a lot of joyful memories. You just got to have this experience watching your grandma realize that the impact and what she's passing on because she cared about the right things and the peace that brings you and the tremendous sadness you feel, but also it means you loved really well and you were loved really well. In this case, sometimes we grieve what couldn't be. I talk to women that couldn't have children, those kinds of things, but they also were able to learn from that. My friend Lana Monikowski is a great example of I'm thriving. Life just had a different menu for me than what I saw. I gave my grief room to breathe, but I didn't let it stop me from becoming all that I could be and intended to be. And the nuance, you mentioned all the things you were feeling. We had to get comfortable with the nuance instead of just trying to live by one primary emotion. No, give them all room to breathe. We are nuanced and complex, and we can do it. And we get to make choices to decide the narratives for us. We get to unlearn those things that aren't serving us and relearn a new narrative. And I think that's such a powerful thing, too. Letting our nervous system know, listen, thank you for showing up for me in that way. I don't need you to show up for me that way anymore. I'm safe now. I'm good now. I've got the tools and resources. Thanks for protecting my 8-year-old self. We're not there anymore.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. Absolutely. So, um, what do you think? Like, so people can be out there and they're trying to do all this on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I talk about this enough about working with somebody or a coach. I mean, I have my coach I worked with yesterday who helps me with all the energetic stuff that I deal with and my intuition and just all the things that go on with me. And then I also have my business coach who helps me dial in and, all the business stuff that, I mean, some of it I don't want to deal with, some of it I don't want to face. And she gets to say, hey, you need to check this out. Look at this, because there's things that we do purposely we don't want to look at them because we don't want to deal with them or we don't want to feel them. Like we all do that. I don't care if you're a coach
Absolutely.
or whatever. Like we all are human and we all deal with it. So, what would you say to somebody who is trying to do this all on their own? I mean, I'm like at the point where I'm like, quit. Like, ladies, let's stop this. Like,
Yes.
I don't know. Like, do you use a coach? Do you find that, like, where are you at with your things? Because I got a lot of people helping me and I
Yeah.
help a lot of people.
Me
I
too.
need it too.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you said that. I both now offer one-on-one, what I call empowerment sessions to help people utilize my framework in a way that's going to support them and help them. And it can be done in a variety of ways. It can be one-on-one advising with me. We have a book club starting soon where you go through our book together in community, supporting each other, being seen, known, and heard, and like, oh, I'm not alone in this, and getting a chance to learn together. I have an online course that you can do on your own with a workbook, but I also really encourage businesses and groups of women do this together, hold
Mhm.
each other accountable, support each other through it. I have a therapist. I have a person who she's my PR um branding advisor, but she holds me accountable. She'll call me out on like, you're playing afraid here. I'm gonna stretch you. And I trust her. So if she tells me, so surrounding yourself really trust. I have a network of women within my work, kind of my beta group, and it is about 10 to 15, probably up to 15 women. And I can call at any time to be like,
Mm.
oof, this is rough. I'm navigating this thing and I'm not sure what to do with it. And they will hold space for me because sometimes we just need to have space help. We don't need someone to solve things for us.
Yeah.
So having those people around you, but I have weekly therapy sessions. So yes, I am out here speaking and online course and one-on-one sessions helping people. And I have a therapist who meets with me every week and is like, what are you doing with this? Are you tracking your everyday wins? Are you losing? Are you just moving it to the next thing? Or are you stopping to slow down? Are you getting back to your core self? I mean, so yes, I absolutely surround yourself with a community of people that you trust that aren't just yes people. You trust them enough that when they challenge you, like, I see
Yeah.
you're holding back on that, you
Mhm.
got that, you're like, "Mm, you're right. And I trust you with that." And you do the same with them. Your goal together is to continue to thrive and to continue to live as your healthiest, authentic selves and having enough access to each other. You can call that out and see that in a kind, loving, empathetic, but direct way. Communication
Yeah.
is kind.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Communication is kind. Absolutely. All right. Well, you're on the Happy Whole You podcast. So I have to ask you, what does happiness mean to you?
For me, happiness used to be these moments. And now for me, happiness is that overall contentment that I know that I have everything within me to draw from to deal with whatever's going to come my way. I no longer feel like that thing, if that happens, that will derail me. No, that thing will be hard, but I have everything within me and the tools and resources and community around me to navigate that. That brings me so much contentment. I know what those activities are that nourish me. If I need to get to the ocean or get to the mountains, I know that settles my system. So that for me is what happiness is now. It's that contentment of knowing I have everything within me and access to I've surrounded myself with people and community and resources that allow me to truly live my healthiest, most authentic life.
Hmm. I love that. And what does wholeness mean to you?
Wholeness means not pushing off those parts of you. You talked about earlier, it's less about the self. We kind of use that, oh, that's selfish as an excuse because we don't want to deal with the hard stuff. It is being willing to go there with all the hard stuff and not pushing anything back to the secret corners anymore. Everything has room to breathe. Every every place has room to come out and be acknowledged without fear, without judgment, and that allows my whole being to exist, all the parts that make up who I am.
I love that. And for you, what does your future you look like?
My future you is continuing to share this, what I call my feel framework with women, letting them know that they have everything in them in to be their health aesthetics that they were created to be, not based on societal expectations or narratives, but who they were made to be. And getting in front of women and letting them know this and empowering with these resources and community. and then travel and spending lots of time with family and future grandchildren. Those are the things. That's what the future me looks like.
I love that. I love that. Travel is on my list too. We're hosting a retreat in the Dominican Republic in
Mm,
April, so I'm very excited.
yeah.
But travel, where are some places that are on your bucket list?
Um, I want to get to Portugal. We've been to parts of Europe. I want to get to Portugal. I want to get to Greece. I want to get to New Zealand. I want to get to Croatia. I've heard the Adriatic coast is one of the most incredible places in the world. I need to get to Alaska and Hawaii still. I haven't been to 48 out of 50 states. The only two I have left are in Hawaii. So I told my husband, I kind of feel like we need to do those. We've traveled to like 7 or 8 other countries. Before we do another country, let's tick off these last 2. He's been to them already. He's been to all 50 states.
Okay.
I have not. So it may end up being a girls' trip or a trip with my daughters. But I got it. But yeah, probably my next near future, Alaska and Hawaii.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That should be just done. That's easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Well, Melissa, where can people contact you and connect with you?
Yeah, go to embracinglayers.com. Everything's there. Go to my contact form. I offer 30-minute free empowerment sessions to see how the FEEL framework can serve you. And we've got a multitude of resources there. I have a podcast and a panel show, a book, an online course. I speak to people both in person and virtually, and I work with you one-on-one. But let's figure out what's going to serve you and come up with a plan for you.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining me on the Happy Whole You podcast. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure being with you too. Thank you so much.